Dr. Atkins.
It seems to me that the challenges for those who propose the more complicated explanation have to present their arguments unless they accept the simpler one. I can propose that science can account for everything there is in the world without the invocation of the complexity of a creator and a God. What a believer has to do is to demonstrate explicitly that my view about the simplicity, the innate, inherent simplicity of the world is inadequate. It's only by showing that it is an inadequate understanding of the world that I am prepared to accept that there may be room for a God. No arguments that we've heard this evening go that far. None of them say that this explicitly shows that the universe cannot come in by chance alone. No argument we've heard this evening explicitly excludes the possibility that the values of the fundamental constants are the ones that are necessary for life. That is what the opposition have to do. They have to show that simplicity is inadequate. Atheism is the more primitive, of course you would agree with that, atheism is the more primitive view of the world, which has to be displaced. It's only through historical accident that the belief in gods, which was engendered by the bewilderment of our ancestors as they dropped down from the trees and were surrounded by forces that they needed to cajole. It's only that historical accident that has brought religion into its powerful prime position, with the believers pretending that it is our duty to displace it. That is not the case. We, from the viewpoint of modern 20th century science, can see our way to accounting for everything that religion purports to explain, but in fact fails to explain, even though it's been trying to explain it for 5,000 years. I'm invited, Dr. Craig says that his arguments will fail if his deductive mode can be argued against. Are his premises false? The origin of the universe. I argued that there was nothing to be made. I did not argue that there was nothing here now. I think it quite right that we should regard the current universe as an elaborate and engaging rearrangement of nothing. There was nothing for God to do. That's a simplification. Science, of course, cannot account for it in detail, but at least give it a chance to try. And what science will do is what religion cannot do. That is, it will provide an explanation this side of the grave. If you want to believe in God and the arguments that Dr. Craig has presented this evening, you can only be confident about them after you are dead. That seems to me to be a grave intrusion into human logic. Complex order, I have argued there. My argument was greatly maligned in Dr. Craig's response. I will not go into that. I don't have further time this evening. Let me talk about the things that I didn't have time to think about in my original talk. The historicity of Jesus. I mean, I know I'm on dangerous ground here because it's not my subject, but I don't believe that the Gospels, written as they were decades after the event, are a true record of what actually happened. Anyone who bases their belief on the Gospels is in fact showing that they are credible to a stage beyond belief. Okay, I'll accept that Jesus did exist, but I will not accept that there were any miracles. David Hume said that there is always more reason to disbelieve the messenger than to believe the message. And with miracles, that is exactly the case. People wanted to make a case. People wanted to make a case that they had a savior. People wanted to make a case that here was the Messiah. There were committees, 80 years after the events, sitting down, thinking about what should have gone on, and then writing it down as though it did go on. As for immediate experience of God, I'm afraid that is just self-delusion. We all want to be immortal. At least I want to be immortal. I know the only way of being immortal is to encourage investment in science and medicine. I don't believe that one can be immortal through belief in the Bible. It's people who simply wish to believe, who feel alone in this world, who want comfort, who are lost, who don't know their position in the world, who want to avoid the prospect of their own annihilation, who believe in things that Dr. Craig was terming the immediate experience of God. Self-delusion, nothing other than self-delusion. So, in summary, I would say give science a chance. Give science this simple understanding of the world, this simple explanation of all there is, can come from science. If science fails to deliver, this side of the grave, then by all means turn to religion. Thank you.